Oklahoma, a state of pure bliss. As the saying goes, roses are red, mud is brown, country music up, tailgates down. Who needs shoes when they sell camo Crocs? You know, legend has it Chuck Norris is supposedly from Oklahoma, but we all know he is really from Mars. After all, he took his first steps there, and now there's no sign of life. From the cow-tippin', tailgate-poppin', southern country music state, my friends, I am proud to introduce you to 10 Darwin winners from good ol' Oklahoma. Number 10, ATD, All-Terrain Dummy. ATVs can provide hours of endless fun. Usually, when people are riding them, they are riding on some dirt road out in the woods or a field somewhere. Alexander from Woodward, Oklahoma, decided he just couldn't wait to get his ATV on, and he was going to show off as best as he could. He whipped out his ATV in a parking lot and started driving it around at a high rate of speed, according to officers. Apparently, the ATV just couldn't handle the pavement, or Alexander couldn't handle the high speed of his ATV because he suddenly lost control of the vehicle and was thrown approximately 30 feet when the ATV rolled. Oklahoma Highway Patrol responded to the call, and poor Alexander died shortly after their arrival. It is unknown at this time whether or not he was under the influence. My guess is yes. But what is known is that his courageous act won him a Darwin Award. Number 9, double whammy. Who would have thought that rattlesnakes could be venomous? Oh wait, everybody knows that. Well, almost everyone apparently. It was Barry's 57th birthday. He was taking a nice drive with his wife when they spotted a 42-inch timber rattlesnake on the road. And, like any sane person would do, Barry got out of his vehicle and decided to move the rattlesnake off the road. Apparently, this wasn't his first time handling snakes, but it would turn out to be his last. Barry attempted to pin the snake's head down with a stick, reached out to grab it, and the snake sunk its teeth into Barry's hand. Not once, but twice. The double whammy had begun. Barry quickly threw the snake into his toolbox and headed to the hospital, where he later succumbed to the snake's deadly bite. Here's an idea. If you see a snake on the road, leave it alone. Drive around it. The last thing you should do is pick it up. Don't be a Barry. Number 8, extreme hoarders. Hoarders move over. This next one takes the cake. Kitty had a passion for, well, kitties, ironically. She was known by her neighbors as the cat lady because of her extensive amount of cats she owned. Not only did she own too many kitties, but Kitty apparently did not enjoy cleaning, to the point that she literally never cleaned her house. Neighbors are saying the house should have been bulldozed years ago. Some hadn't seen Kitty in quite some time and called the police for a welfare check. When police arrived, they found Kitty's body, along with the mess inside her house. The house smelled rancid, with mold-covered windows and walls. The ceilings were exposed and the floors were covered with cat poo. Her house quite literally got so dirty that it killed her. Kinda makes me want to go tidy up a bit. Number 7, beaver dam. Steven had it with the beavers in his pond. They had even managed to build their dam in the way of a spillway. It was getting out of hand. So, on a Friday night, Steven went out to his pond to tackle this mess. He didn't want to get wet though, so he just used his feet to clear all the debris. Well, that debris was as deep as 5 feet in the pond. But that wasn't about to stop Steven. He just kept at it, until finally he had cleared it all up and the spillway was in use once again. Steven then must have forgotten about the spillway already, because just like that he was pulled under the water, swept into the pipe, and shortly after he exited the other side of the dam. Of course he wasn't wearing a life jacket, because that's not what real men do. But hey, at least he had cleaned up the beaver's mess. Number 6. Can't catch me, coppers. Police pulled over a man in July 2020 after running their plates and realizing his car was registered as stolen. When troopers asked the man to step out of the vehicle, he sped away. The police chase went on for some time. Eventually, a tactical vehicle was called in, and lucky for the cops, they managed to hit the rear quarter panel of the stolen car, causing it to spin 180 degrees and come to a stop. Somehow, in the midst of all this action, the driver, who was not wearing his seatbelt, was ejected from the vehicle. But it was his lucky day. He managed to land with minimal injuries, got up, and started running. Turns out, it really wasn't his lucky day though, because as soon as he started running away, another vehicle came along, unaware that he was on foot, and hit him. He was pronounced dead on the scene. I am seriously getting the best mental image of this whole deal, like something you see on a sitcom. A Darwin sitcom. Number 5. Rollin' to a win. Jace, 19, was fresh out of high school and had landed himself the perfect job. In construction, definitely a way to get the ladies' attention and pay for all those dates. Jace was working on the road crew. He was the cool dude that got to drive the steamroller on the freshly laid asphalt. One day, he was hard at work smoothing the pavement when he realized there was a bit of excess asphalt stuck to his front roller. So, he hopped off the steamroller real quick, poured some diesel on it, and started to rid the roller of the asphalt. He had forgot one thing, to turn off the steamroller. As luck had it, Jace fumbled and tumbled and was flattened like a pancake. And he's not the only one from Oklahoma who did this. A semi-truck driver recently ran himself over too. He hopped out of the semi, why, we don't know, but he forgot to put it in park and soon had the same fate as Jace. I bet the two are swapping stories up in heaven right now. Definitely fast friends. Number 4, the gateway drug. With the recreational use of a certain plant becoming legal in more and more states, it makes it easier to try for those who never had. Especially trying the food variety. Before, you had to make it yourself. And that can be quite a hassle. Now you just walk into a store, buy it, and try it. Luke had apparently never tried it before, and he decided to go and buy $78 worth of edibles with his cousin and have a great night. For most, that would include laughing and the munchies. Apparently, Luke didn't read the bag that said eat 1 and wait up to 2 hours before feeling the full effects. He decided to eat 5 of his candies right away. His cousin reports that Luke became weird and incoherent, speaking in a nonsensical manner. Later that evening, he was alone in his room playing with a handgun when it accidentally discharged. His cousin ran in to see the horror that once was Luke. His mother is blaming the edibles. After all, it is the gateway drug. Number 3, Donation Bandit, a sequel. I'm really hoping this next winner didn't watch one of my videos about the girl in Australia who got stuck in a donation bin and then he got some ideas to try it himself. Considering he is, or was, homeless, I highly doubt it. Yes, another clothing donation bin bandit has lost his life to the cause. First responders arrived on scene to see a man half in and half out of a clothing bin, and they did manage to free him and rush him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead a few hours later. Upon further inspection, it was confirmed that yes, he was trying to steal clothes from the bin before he got stuck and couldn't escape. Any of you watching this, if you ever think, hey, free clothes, please think again. This is an absurd way to die, and it's becoming more and more common. It just doesn't make sense. Number 2, noodling, the new extreme sport. Have you ever heard of noodling? I am not exactly proud to say that I actually do know what noodling is. In case you are unaware of what noodling is exactly, have no fear, I have your back. Noodling is when you go fishing for catfish, but instead of using a fishing pole and a line, you use your arm and your fingers. The fish sees you wiggling your fingers, thinks it's food, bites on, and you pull out a catfish stuck to your hand/arm. Christopher loved to go noodling with his friends. Their favorite spot just so happened to be located right above a dam. One Friday, Christopher and his friend went to their noodling spot, and the hunt was on for the big catch of the day. It was Christopher's turn. He reached in the water in hopes of the big one, and suddenly he went under. His friend waited and waited, and when he realized that Christopher was not coming back up, he swam to shore for help. Authorities eventually found Christopher, or his body, I should say. Christopher had made a bold decision that many Darwin winners make, not to wear a life jacket. He got pulled under, couldn't swim, and eventually got swept over the dam. The rest was history. Today's bonus honorable mention might be the best one yet. or at least a close call between this one and the Captain Jack Sparrow lady. Apparently, Donald was having some problems with a neighbor, Troy. Tension between them had been brewing for weeks. Donald believed that Troy was the one responsible for him getting evicted from the trailer park. So, one day, Donald challenged Troy to a knife fight. Donald showed up at Troy's house with a knife in each hand, 2 knives in his belt, a large weight attached to a lanyard, and for protection, he had taped adult magazines all over his midsection as some sort of makeshift armor. I can only imagine the look on Troy's face as Donald showed up covered in adult magazines and screaming, "Come out and get some!" Obviously, Troy called the police, who showed up just in time to send Donald to jail. But just you wait till he gets out. He has some time now to plan his next big move. And if it's anything like the stunt he just pulled, I can't wait to see what he thinks up next. Number 1. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Having good hygiene takes on a whole new level of importance after this one. Now, I know it sounds kind of out there, but just hear me out. You'll be glad you did. For any item to combust, you need a minimum of 2 things: a source of ignition and fuel for the fire. Danny, it seems, had become the fuel. The source of ignition had not yet been determined. Danny's brother had come home one day to find him in the kitchen badly burnt. When fire crews arrived to assess the situation, they noticed something odd. Danny was burnt, but absolutely nothing else in the house was. So what happened? Well, Danny liked to drink, and he was well known for drinking so much he would forget to shower. That, and apparently forgetting to pay his water bill, because he had no running water in his house. This caused a lot of oils on his skin and hair, plus the alcohol, then add all the fat on his body. Somehow, he had managed to catch himself on fire, but nothing else. I honestly feel like he has a special superpower: spontaneous combustion. Only it was just a one-time trick. He was never able to show it off to all his friends. I hope y'all enjoyed some of Oklahoma's finest. Don't forget to leave a like if you do, and I have a challenge for you this time. I want you to send me a link to the dumbest or funniest Darwin video or news article you have. Send it to the email in the description below or the comment pinned. I am going to pick 10 of my favorites and do a Darwin reaction video of things you guys sent me. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe, friends.